Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Chelsea. And welcome to
Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure, where we chronicle 50-something parents of a 5-year-old as we move from the USA to the UAE.
You can also follow our journey on our Instagram page, Nick Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure, or type in the name of this podcast. If you have any questions or subjects you'd like us to address, go ahead and send them through our Instagram page.
And in this episode, we recount our experiences at our first ever Gaelic Sports tournament, which also took us to the Emirate Sharjah for the first time. We'll also talk about turning the tables and being the welcomers instead of the newcomers, as well as our trip to see the stage production of Wicked at Dubai Opera.
Ooh. Okay, but first, let's begin with a quick spring break update. So last week we talked about narrowing our options down in a whole new direction. And so tonight I tried to get tickets for Taipei, for Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And then I was using a website called Go To Gate, which I just read about.
Okay.
And we needed a flexible travel option for Nick in case he ends up getting a job.
Right. So we need to be able to make it so that the two of you can go without me if needed.
And we needed to be able to buy a ticket and recover at least the majority of the money, or at least have money to use for future travel. And I could do that, so that was it. But that was another, 700 dirhams. And then we wanted flexible tickets just in case, same situation. And that cost another however many hundreds of dirhams. And then they wanted to charge for each seat on all different flights.
Meaning choose
each connection.
But charging to choose the seats.
Charging to choose each seat. And they ranged from 75 to 300.
Yeah.
Dirhams per seat. So I stopped it. It was just getting really high. And I was like, oh, man, this is like a lot of my paychecks in a month. So I just had to stop and think.
For reference, that 300 dirhams is like $80.
Yeah. And I'm not getting paid in dollars, so I always just have to think about it in dirhams. I'm using my dirham credit card to do this. But anyway, if anybody has any ideas for keeping travel even lower on flights, I am all ears. The only one that's direct is Emirates, and that's always like a few thousand more.
Right. Yeah, you're paying for the luxury of flying an Emirates airline.
Yeah, and flying direct, which would save a fair amount of hours. But I'm not doing that because it just costs too much. Anyway, so our update is sort of there, but who knows? Maybe I'll end up in Thailand after all.
Yeah, we might be going to have these change of plans every week for the next 6 weeks.
We are really trying to get out of the heat, and Taiwan was looking pretty perfect. It's like 60s, 70s while we're maybe there. So that was sounding really nice, but we shall see.
No. Anyway, let's get into the actual guts of our episode this week and talk about the Gaelic Sports tournament that T had and that we attended this past weekend.
Yeah, so the GAA, the Gaelic Athletics Association, does tournaments all over, and ours, it was the Middle East tournament. It's called what is it called?
Fela. It's pronounced Fela is the Irish term. I think it's the Irish term for festival, I think is what I looked up.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so it was like a Middle East.
It was basically called Fela Weekend.
Yeah, and a Middle East focused tournament. So the teams were from Dubai, of course, and then Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and Oman.
Yes. Yeah, and it was all took place at a place called the Sharjah Wanderers Sports Club, which is in the Emirate Sharjah. So it was our first time actually, I guess getting out of our car and stopping in Sharjah.
Yeah, and apparently it's a rugby club.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we really had a great time. Just to set it up for anything we talk about, know this. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we found out about this, we didn't really understand what we were getting ourselves into when they're talking about this at the practices in the weeks ahead.
Right.
They just say, we got the tournament.
Right.
And didn't really give us a whole lot of details.
Right. I think people who've done this already know, and most people have done it. Mm-hmm. So, and they've done it maybe back in Ireland too. So they just had an idea, and we were like, oh, okay, there's a tournament. And all we knew was that T was going to play 2 hurling matches and 2 Gaelic football matches.
Yeah.
The end. That's all we knew.
And we thought it was going to be like, oh, it's just the morning.
Yep.
We're going to just do this in the morning. And then we're like, well, let's go check out the Taste of Dubai in the afternoon.
Good thing we did not have actual plans for that.
Yeah, because this ended up being a much, we were there, 10 hours probably.
Yeah, we got there at 8:30
Mm-hmm.
and we left at 7-ish.
I think it wasn't quite dark
6:30
yet. I
maybe?
think it was around 6.
Oh, you're right. It was around 6 because we were watching the sunset. Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hours. And we knew like there would be a brunch, but we didn't really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what? Okay. Like at the end you get brunch, but T gets lunch. What? I'm confused because the kids all got a voucher.
Right.
For
so
food.
yeah, what we found out is that they sent us some information, and so we get the schedule of games and so forth, and who's on his team and everything. And that literature includes, and you get a voucher for a meal for your child.
Yeah.
And then it also mentioned brunch.
Yes.
But we didn't know exactly how that all worked. We didn't really know what this place we were going to was like. So we were really kind of going in blind.
Yeah, we were confused. And we have, a 5-year-old, so he's playing with his age group, which is 5, 6. And there's also youngers. So all of those age groups are not playing to win.
Right. They weren't keeping score on those games.
No, they're just practicing what it's like to be in a match. But this tournament went all the way up through adults.
Yeah.
Like they had adult teams playing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and they were keeping score up on a big digital board, a big screen in the meal area outside. And so people were really paying attention to who was winning.
Well, and the championship games at the highest levels or the oldest age levels were live streamed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was, it was an event. I mean, it was more than just have your kids show up and we're going to run around and have a glorified practice.
Yeah. Like
this is a true event.
If we stayed in Dubai and T kept doing this, like you can get really big with it. You can get really competitive with it. But it's also fun.
Yeah.
It's also fun. Irish people are fun.
Well, and one thing I want to make sure we mention, there were teams from around the region. So it wasn't just Dubai or UAE. Like we said, there was players there from Qatar, from Oman.
Yeah.
All Irish.
Yes, of course.
We are the non-Irish people, us and the Catalans, who we've kind of befriended. Otherwise, everyone else is Irish. Doesn't matter where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You are hearing the Irish lilt.
Yes.
It's
everywhere. There might be a spouse or two in there who's not Irish.
Yeah. Usually there's someone who's from Ireland.
Yeah, we met someone from Canada, or I did. I met somebody from Canada, and we met another American who's from the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
And then our friend, who's one of the coaches, and her son is T's friend.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband's from Scotland. Mm-hmm. But it is Irish.
Well, and even the Spaniards, the Catalans,
they lived
in Dublin.
Right.
So that's why they have their kid in it.
Yeah,
is because he had gotten into it when they were living in Dublin.
Right. And they just moved this year like we did. So they got him right into it again because he already knew it. And they missed Dublin. Yeah. I know they said that. And anyway, so we stayed the whole day. We stayed till 5 or till 6, as we said.
And, we get there in the morning, and the first thing I experience is, it's going to be hot. This past week was the first week since we've been back where you really started to feel the heat starting to come back. I mean, it's obviously nowhere near where it's going to be.
But it's been in the low 70s, even 60s sometimes for the past month, really. Mm-hmm. And now we're in the 80s again. Yeah. And you're like, oh, man.
And, when we got there, you're like, this is going to be a hot day.
Yeah. Yeah. For us right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it was a, let's see if I can describe what it was like when we first arrived. So this facility is a really nice facility. Like you said, I guess it's a rugby club mostly, but they have, paddle courts. They have, other, I don't know what else they had, but they had 3 fields set up for, I guess rugby, but being used for the Gaelic sports in our case.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk in, and it is just a massive chaos of kids running everywhere.
And you didn't need to check in anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were told there was registration.
No.
Well, let's just say that our kid didn't get registered for
No.
anything.
And I talked to our friend, and she was like, nah. So it's fine.
So it was really a lot of, well, we're not sure what we're doing or where we're supposed to go, but let's go set up in the grandstand and see if we can figure things out.
Yeah.
Because the first thing they had is they did a parade.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. It was so cute.
Yeah, they kind of had an opening ceremony where the kids all got together in their various associations and paraded around the field. They
did it by age group. So you had these little tiny kids at the front, and then, of course, the big kids at the back. And it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. It was a lot of spirit. They had they had a DJ there who played some, traditional Irish that got me all weepy, and then also some fun stuff. And
we had
and then the Irish anthem.
Yeah, we had the national anthem.
Yeah.
So it felt very official that way, have a national anthem.
Yep. And that's at that point our kid had disappeared with his friend, and so I felt really bad wandering around during the anthem while everybody's standing still. I'm like, sorry, we gotta find our kid. But anyway, it felt, you wanted the Irish pride. You're like, I need Irish pride too. My last name, it's Irish.
Indeed, there was another person.
Oh yeah, we met one of the other people who we've seen but never met, who has the same last name, and said, "Oh, it's not very common." I was like, "Really?" Because there's really actually a lot of people with my last name, but not where he was from.
Yeah. Well, this dad, I mean, he found me.
Oh yeah.
And was like, "So you're this name?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, it's my wife."
Got you.
Because if you look at me, I'm not very Irish.
Nick's half Japanese.
So yeah, no.
But you're part Scottish.
Well, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But no one is really going to mistake me for a native Irelander.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's an actual term.
Irishman, I think maybe is the term. But anyway, it was nice to talk to him and, just hear a little bit about having the same last name, really. It's fun to talk to somebody with the same last name who has an actual Irish accent. I'm like, yeah, I can claim it because it's my name, but I cannot claim the accent or any real identity besides my name. But I wish.
Yeah.
I've searched far and wide to see if there's a way I could be a citizen. There is not.
So let's get into the actual games.
Okay.
So they get started, and I guess one thing that was kind of nice and made this a little different is that, at least to start with, he was doing hurling, and his first hurling match was against a team from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So they got to play people they didn't know.
That was good.
I think that's probably a good thing.
It was good experience, and good because, some of these kids, they've been playing each other all season long, and or at least our kid starts to develop some awareness of kids' skill levels and either shuts down a little bit because they're better than me or wants to taunt them because he's better than them. So it was good because he didn't do those things with another team. It was good. And it pushed them to know what it's like to play somebody else.
One thing, so he had 2 hurling matches to begin with.
Yeah.
And one thing, the second one was kind of carnage.
Yeah.
Because there's a kid running off crying almost every 2 minutes or so. I mean, it's rough. I mean, they've got
hurling is rough.
They're good size sticks for their size.
Yeah.
And they're not wearing gloves or anything.
Oh yeah, and our kid went after somebody with a hurling stick. And we're like, what is going on? Yeah, we had to watch him closely.
But I mean, I don't know how they do it. No gloves. There's no shin pads or anything. No, so I mean,
they have helmets. That's it.
And these kids aren't exactly like models of control when they're swinging those sticks.
No.
So I mean, it is that I cringe a lot watching the hurling.
Yeah.
At all the near misses.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, I don't think I've seen anyone just get truly
No,
just
and the
totally
coaches
smashed.
are paying close attention to this stuff. So they help them get them down. They're great coaches. They're awesome. They're all parents. They're loving. They're fun. They're kind. They also know, like, we got to build resilience. They're really doing a great job.
So T survived the 2 hurling matches unscathed.
Yeah.
At least physically.
Barely. Yeah.
No, got a little heated at times.
Definitely.
But he was okay.
And I do think the heat got to him.
Well, and then we got his first football match, and this was a match against another Dubai team. So these were kids he did know.
Yeah.
And there was some friction there.
There's one he butts heads with both at practice, and they ended up on opposite teams. And yeah, the coaches had to break them up a couple times.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my gosh. I mean, in some ways, like, you're glad your kid is competitive because it means he wants to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you're like, okay, but you have to have sportsmanship.
Right.
You have to. And so we're constantly having this conversation. That's just parenting. More parenting
exactly. Stuff. So he ended up having one football match.
Right.
And then the coaches were like, okay, we see where this is all going with everybody. It wasn't just their game.
No, they were running late.
We had, our friend talked about how her kid's first football game, they were like full on tackling everybody.
Yeah.
And dogpiling and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't at least get to that level.
No, that's because the coaches broke it up. But yeah, I mean, they were like at least a half hour behind on the schedule with the football, and the kids were beat.
Yeah.
It was hot, etc. I think if this had been 1 week earlier, the heat would have been so much better. So it was really interesting, but it was fine. We were glad to end, and we're also very glad he got the 3 matches in.
Yeah. Yeah. But
and he did great in hurling.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's pretty skilled at it.
He loves to hit a ball with a stick. That's really what it comes down to.
Yep.
He really enjoyed T-ball, and we will occasionally play a version of hockey here in the apartment.
Yep, it's true.
And then hurling. I'm glad he got over the not liking the helmet thing, because
man, you really need those helmets.
But I think he probably long term will enjoy the hurling more.
It seems that way already.
Yeah,
it's interesting because he will still say he prefers football, but he is definitely more focused when it's hurling. So it's really interesting. Okay, so a couple other things about the tournament. Like, the sports themselves were awesome. Community was great. This was also, they had some entertainment.
Yeah.
So they had a magic show.
Yeah, they had a magic show for the kids. It was a little different because the magician didn't speak.
Yes, never.
Instead,
if he did, we did not hear.
He put music on, like Michael Jackson,
like really loud,
doing Michael Jackson dancing.
Like, he was teaching
on
the
stage
kids
while he's doing
hip thrusts
while he's doing the music.
And I was like, "Are we in Dubai?"
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny. He was decent. And the kids were super interested. They were all the little ones were like standing,
right
in front of the stage.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then they advertised a brunch, but before that they had a breakfast buffet. And you were down with tea, but I had not eaten any breakfast, so I went up and found where the breakfast was, and I bought it, and I got it takeaway. Nobody says to go here, by the way. Everybody says takeaway. To takeaway. I'm like, yes, that one. Because I always say, can I get blah, blah, blah to go? And they're like, takeaway? Oh, uh-huh. Anyway, I got takeaway breakfast, and it had sausage and bacon, of which I fully expected to all be, beef or chicken or whatever. It was actual pork. I was so confused. And I didn't really know. I'm tasting it. I'm like, gosh, this sure does taste like actual pork. That can't be true. We're in Sharjah. Yeah. Sharjah is known as a much more conservative emirate. It would be shocking. But we'll explain that a little bit. It was, in fact, bacon and sausage that were pork. And let me tell you, so good.
Yes.
So good.
So, yeah, you mentioned about, this, and is this Dubai? And I would say there were other aspects.
Not Dubai. Is this the UAE? I should have said
this that was like, because this is, like I said, our first time in Sharjah, which is its own emirate, but is right on the north border of Dubai. So
Yep.
it's essentially like
People will commute from Sharjah and vice versa.
I mean, you can't even tell the difference when you actually cross the border.
You can't tell it. There's a little sign that says "Welcome to Sharjah," and you can tell a little bit by the buildings. Like they look different. They're not as fancy and new as Dubai, which is like constantly building.
And we also found that everybody walking around wearing pants,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
But at this event, and specifically the brunch, which
Yes.
I think attracted people who weren't there for the tournament.
Right. Or they were and they changed.
Yeah.
That's possible.
But we had pork. We had alcohol. We had people
Skimpy
dressed rather
clothes.
scantily. And it's like this is Sharjah, the
Yeah,
more
what's
conservative.
happening?
Well, what we learned is that the property that this club is on is actually still owned by the British.
Yes.
I think it was.
Or it's leased by them at this point.
Is it a?
It was
like a military
it
base
was-
or something, right?
I don't know. It was embassy owned.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
then the Brits still lease it.
Yeah, they still own it, and they basically lease it out to the club.
Yeah.
And therefore it has all of the ability to have alcohol and pork and everything there. So I think the Irish, overheard someone saying that that's why they go there.
Makes sense.
Because they're able to get all of those things that you wouldn't normally find in Sharjah, because no one goes to Sharjah to party, basically.
No. People live there because it's a lot cheaper. Some people live there because they like it being more conservative. But I've heard a lot of people say it's cheaper. And I mean, it is substantially cheaper. Like I know somebody who commutes to my school for an hour and a half one way.
Wow.
From Sharjah because it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
And he feels like it's worth it to drive that far.
And it's only an hour and a half because of the traffic. Like it was
it was 45 minutes on a Saturday morning
for us, and we're
Yeah.
pretty far south
Yeah.
in Dubai.
Yeah.
So to get to Sharjah in 45 minutes, it was 30 some kilometers
Right.
in actual distance.
Right.
So it's not that far.
No, it would be if it wasn't traffic, it would be much better.
It feels a little bit like us going from our place in South Seattle to your sister's place in North Seattle.
Right, which can be crazy making on a traffic day, but when it's not, it's fine. So anyway, they had a brunch. They had we've not experienced Dubai brunch is a big thing here.
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
It starts at 1 p.m.
and it's only on Saturdays.
Only Saturdays, and it goes to 4, and people go to all these different restaurants to do brunch. We have not done brunch because it's really expensive, and we don't really need to do that.
But people rave about these things, and
They do,
and they talk about it's a great deal and everything, and how it's great for families. And I'm looking at, we get this literature and says brunch is 220 dirhams
per
a head,
person,
which is $60.
Yeah.
And that does not seem cheap to me.
Right. $60 is a great deal for a fancy brunch at home. 220 dirhams is not a great deal in Dubai for a meal. So, because we can get a really good meal cheaper than per person.
I don't think I'm paying $60 for brunch in Seattle.
I know, babe, but it is a good deal. So if you think about a fancy place like Salties,
okay,
it would cost more than that. So anyway, it's $60 is sure we're not, but for a nice experience, that is how much it costs. Anyway, but it's not the same here. So we can't compare dollars to dirhams. 220 is a lot of dirhams for a meal for one person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were like, whoa. I mean, if I'm paying 220 for the three of us, I feel like I've spent a lot.
Yeah.
So, and I have.
So it was always kind of a mystery, this Dubai brunch concept.
Yeah.
Until we actually were there for one now. 'Cause we got to see it up close and personal at the club.
And our Irish friend explaining some of the food.
But
was helpful.
What makes it a great deal is that it is all you can drink.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you get to have as many alcoholic drinks as you want for your brunch.
Yep. There are people who would really appreciate that. And
Well,
most of the Irish.
Well, as we saw, or as you heard people talking about, people were counting their drinks.
Yeah.
To make sure they drank enough to get their money's worth for brunch.
And don't worry, because if I were listening to this in the States, I would be freaking out about all these people driving back to Dubai. There's a program in Dubai. I can't remember what the name of it is. There's probably a couple different companies that do it, but you can drive your car somewhere when you're, sober, and then you hire a service to come pick you up in your car, and they drive you back to your home. And then the car that took them there and dropped them off to be your driver follows them back and takes them to their next destination. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it feels very fuel inefficient to me.
It is fuel inefficient, but it is safe.
Yeah.
Right? And people use it all the time. We talk to a lot of people who use this, and I think, wow, that's so responsible. We probably should have something like that in the U.S., except for, I would say in the U.S., people just hopefully are smart, don't take a car at all. They just do Lyft and Uber if they know they're going to drink.
Yeah. But you and I, not really. This isn't an issue for us.
I don't drink at all. And Nick is a very light drinker and red wine, really. So.
And we ended up not actually getting brunch.
Yeah.
We just were able to get a meal for each of us.
We each got a salmon meal, and they were 60 dirhams each. And it was quite good.
Yeah.
It was like a fried salmon. It was yummy. And then it came with like steamed vegetables, like cauliflower and carrots and broccoli, like very American style. But it came with this mayonnaise curry dip that I was like, yes, please. It tastes like my mom's chicken divan. I love this. And then our friend Christina was like, oh yeah, that's definitely an Irish thing. Like curry mayonnaise. Yep. It's what you get for your vegetables. They had another thing there that looked really good. It's like a curry sauce that they pour over fries and chicken, like fried chicken. And it's called Spice Bag. I would get that next time. Because I was like, that does look good. I love curry. I love anything over fries, but curry sauce? Yes, please. Thank you.
Well, we are from the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
So I would like to think that we have a pretty good idea of what good salmon is.
Yeah.
Because
we do have a good idea of that.
It's a very, a common thing from where we're at.
Yeah.
This was pretty good. I was not expecting to get good salmon in Dubai.
Yeah, and Nick and I are of the age where you don't eat the black silver part of the salmon, even though it's perfectly safe. But we grew up in a time in the 70s and 80s where nobody ate that. Now everybody eats it, but we still don't because, we just kind of didn't. I've tried over the years to get that into my body, and it's been fine. This had like that part of it was fried, and it had this crunchy coat, and it was. So I just ate some, and you were like, no, I don't need that. Do you want mine? I was like, babe, you need to try it. And that was super, right?
Yeah, it was good.
It was super. So anyway, got a little fry, but also a little extra nutrients with that. Yeah, it was a yummy meal. T hardly ate his buffet meal, but he ate some. They had a playground there, and he spent hours on that playground, in and out with people. And then they had a pool there.
Yeah.
An outdoor pool. And it was so warm.
We forgot T's swimsuit.
Yeah, it's
we
very
meant to
typical
bring it,
of
but
us.
we were in a crazy hurry in the morning.
We need to start doing these things the night before.
And
yeah.
And but we were very lucky that our friends had an extra swimsuit with
She
them.
is such a prepared mom. She is always so prepared. I thought on the drive up, I bet she'll have an extra swimsuit. Yeah, she did. She had a wetsuit and a swimsuit, and she let her kid pick which one and T wore the other one. I was like, okay, that was good.
And he ended up in a wetsuit for the first time.
Yep.
I put it on him backwards first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
And,
Yeah.
And we were, I should say, at a spot where it's like concern about T in pools. I mean, he's gotten better at swimming.
Right, because it had a substantial deep end.
But I wouldn't say he was a swimmer yet.
No, again, we don't go
And
every week.
You and I did not have swim gear. So
No.
neither of us was going in the pool with him.
Right.
So here he is in a pool where most of it is 2.3 meters.
Yeah.
Which is way above his head,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's above either of our heads by quite a bit.
Right.
And I'm like panicking out there.
Yeah.
Saying, you got to stay in the shallow end. or, you got to make sure that you can keep yourself up.
And they had this flotation device our friends brought, so he was hanging on that for a while.
But it was a very awkward shaped dolphin.
Yeah.
That easy to fall off of and everything like that.
Yeah.
And his friend had arm floaties on.
Yeah.
So he was jumping into the deep end, and T, seeing that, was like, I'm jumping in the deep end too without any flotation device.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, but darned if he didn't figure it out.
I mean, we've seen him do this before. It is not surprising. If another kid is doing it, he's going to do it too. And he does have the skills. He just stops himself sometimes.
Well, but in this case, the other kid wasn't swimming.
Right.
He was just floating. T had to swim without having another kid giving him an example of how to do it.
That's true.
So he just figured out. I mean, he has the background.
Absolutely.
But we just haven't had much swim practice in the last few months because we were back in Seattle.
We did one there.
And then we're back here, but his swim classes at school are shut down right now because they say it's too cold outside, which, as people from Seattle, doesn't make any sense at all. We only been in the pool in the apartment building once because he was, concerned about the cold, because the last time before we went to Seattle, we went to the pool downstairs here. Mm-hmm. It was freezing cold water in there. It's warmer now, but we're also incredibly busy with stuff. So it's a lot harder for us to be able to get time in the pool spontaneously.
Anyway.
But he figured it out. I mean, he was basically swimming himself where he needed to swim. And I've personally reached a turning point.
Good.
Where I will not feel the need
panicked.
To be eye on him at all times and ready to go in and help him.
Yeah.
If
and
needed.
It should be noted, I think maybe he wasn't there at first, but there was a lifeguard. And there are lifeguards at almost every pool here, including the apartment pools, there's lifeguards. So that is nice. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe that lifeguard had disappeared for a little bit. Regardless, he's doing great. So basically we loved the day. It ended up being a great and exciting and fun day.
I mean, I don't know where he found the energy to do everything that he did there.
Because he will always find energy to do things he likes. He was exhausted. Of course, he fell asleep in the car. And we felt like we talked to a lot of people we hadn't talked to. We also enjoyed spending time with the people we already knew and just getting to know them a little bit better, different ways. One of the coaches, who's one of the lead coaches, came up to me at one point with his wife, who's from Canada, and he was like, so what's your story anyway? I was like, oh, I wonder if other people wonder that.
Yeah, I suspect we're a bit of a curiosity.
Yeah, how'd you Americans find this place? But anyway, it was a really community feel. We loved it. I was like, yep, I still love the Irish. This is still great. I'm so glad we're part of this. And we're looking forward. I think there's there will be another brunch before the season starts next year. And then there'll be another tournament next year. And we don't know where that will be, but we're all in.
And I think that we got more community from Gaelic at this event than we had yet experienced, just because it was more time.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's
a whole day.
We tend to stay late after the Sunday practices, but not many people do that.
Right. And I get it. I mean, there's short weekends are not that long,
Mm-hmm.
And so our friend always stays late too. And so our two kids run around together and we have a lot of fun and they eat their snack together and so forth. But that's it, but we're glad for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been nice that, Saturday was really nice. Okay. So moving on to our next topic, we don't want to go on too long about it, but we are now no longer the newcomers in Dubai. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that feel?
It's weird. I mean,
I kind of feel great about it.
It does. I mean, there's a certain, sense of accomplishment of graduation is what it is. I feel like we've graduated into, we're not veterans, but maybe we've moved from kindergarten to first grade.
There you go.
Because we actually hosted newcomers.
Not at our house. Not at our apartment.
But I mean, we kind of as a welcoming.
Yes.
And as a, let's see what we can do to kind of help you feel a little more comfortable.
Right. So my friend back in Seattle had a coworker who was moving to Dubai from the Seattle area, from Redmond. And lo and behold, their kids in first grade go into our school.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. So she connected the two of us, and then we exchanged WhatsApps, and then we made a plan. And I was like, I know where we're going to go. Let's go to the Arabian Tea House on the beach again.
Any reason, any excuse.
Yeah, but really it's just perfect because it's on the beach and it's far from the water, but the sand. And then there's a little area where you can wash your feet and near the bathrooms. And then the kids can go get that water in a bucket and bring it back to like really build stuff in the sand. So you can also kick a ball around in the sand. Like it's really... the kids can be in the sand, the adults can come and go, but the adults can also sit and talk while the kids play in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. As long as you can see them, you're good, and nobody's bothered by it because Dubai is good that way.
So the last time we went to the Arabian Tea House, also sort of a welcoming in a different way because they weren't newcomers to the region.
Yeah, they were just visiting from Oman.
Yeah. But that time we ran into an event that made parking really challenging, and it was very crowded down there.
We didn't know about it.
It was also an event day when we were hosting. They were having the Burj to Burj half marathon.
Yeah.
Where they started at the Burj Khalifa and ended at the Burj Al Arab.
Yep.
Which is right there.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sitting right next to the finish line.
Yes.
They had the whole gate and everything all set up right there next to us.
Yes, so we were originally going to meet this family at noon, which would have been great. And 2 nights prior, I was out to dinner for a friend's birthday with all these other women. And I was the grandma in the group, but it was fun. It was really nice to celebrate my friend, who's amazing. And 2 people were visiting, or no, one person was visiting from London. She was staying with her friend who was also at dinner. And then another friend who was at dinner. The 3 of them were running a half marathon on Sunday. And I was like, wait, there's a marathon on Sunday? So then I looked it up and I was like, oh, Burj to Burj. Okay, so we should not meet at noon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a bad idea. So we switched it to 4:30.
And it was great because it had cleared out by then. Everyone had left.
Yep.
Now the roads were all kind of redirected. They hadn't opened everything back up yet, and so finding a parking spot was a little more challenging just because a lot of the parking areas were inaccessible.
But it didn't take you that long because you dropped us off, and then for the first time at Arabian Tea House, we did not have to wait for seats because we were there early enough. So that was really like a nice time to get there, and we enjoyed the food, enjoyed the tea, got some karak. It was yummy, and just enjoy the view and new people. They're great people, really. And our kids got along fabulously.
Yeah.
So it was really, really nice to see. It's always a little awkward at the beginning, but that's why having a play area is so nice, and a natural play area, even better.
Yeah, they figured out, and we hadn't seen T do this yet, but they figured out to take the buckets and go get water from the foot washing station and bring it on over to the very, very fine sand. Yeah. That wasn't
real sand.
Wasn't anything you could build with because it's too far away from the water. It's very soft sand. Yeah. And so they were able to get some wet sand put together so that they could create their volcano. Yeah. Which they were very excited to have the adults come over and see.
It was really cute. So anyway, it was we're just going to continue to, we should be influencers for the Arabian Tea House. We're going to talk about it all the time. It is so good. It's just, and it's not even, I can't compare it to other Emirati style or Arabic style restaurants. I haven't been to enough. It's just the atmosphere is so great there. And I think the tea menu is great. Breakfast is great. I would love to go back for breakfast again, but it's just a nice space to be. And they do have that Emirati dessert, I cannot say it. Lokayat. Lokayat. Anyway, it's basically like mini donut holes. And they're like deep fried dough with date sauce. And that date sauce is something else. And so our new friends that were there, the dad was like, more of that, please. More of that. Anyway, it was really a fun time, and we're so glad we did it.
So if anyone out there is listening, if you come visit us, you will get to experience the Arabian Tea House on the beach.
Yeah, I can't wait to go when your friends are here in a week or two. Okay, so next topic is Wicked.
Yes. So we have talked before about the fact that we are people of the arts.
Yes.
And we like going to go see shows of all kinds.
Yes.
That is just not as prevalent here.
Yeah, I
in
do
Dubai.
think there's small music venues here,
Mm-hmm.
but we haven't explored that, and we don't really have the
But
time.
in the theater in particular,
Theater is not as
just
easy.
not the same.
No, not even close.
And so we try to see what we can when it comes through.
Yeah.
And so this was at Dubai Opera again, which is, you know, a very big downtown
Gorgeous venue.
spot. And we saw Grease there back in the fall.
Yeah, it was so.
And so we were going into Wicked not knowing exactly what we were going to get.
Yeah. But, you know, Wicked was fantastic. It was, I think you said it really well when you were describing it to somebody, that the voices of the two lead women were just as good as Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. And I thought that was saying something.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting to take as many takes as they can to get their best scene. I mean, they had to do it live.
Yeah, and it doesn't always go that way with touring productions. Oftentimes, they're not as strong as the ones that are in the theater in, you know, that's like in the West End or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, they were fantastic. The acting was good too, so I don't want to like take that away from it. But the singing was phenomenal, and there's so many great songs. Now you've only seen the movies. You've never seen the actual stage production. I'd only seen it once, and I didn't have as good of seats that time. This time, we had really good seats. However, we got there quite late because of traffic, etc., and 15 minutes late. Like, we left with an hour and 15 minutes. We should have been there 15 minutes early. We'll go into that a little bit in our Excellents and Boguses, but because we got there late, we thought they wouldn't let us in. That's what all the signs say, but they did let us in. They have these standing seats, like bar stool style, at the back of each section. So we were in a good section, but we had to sit in the back, kind of on the right, as opposed to the center middle where our original seats were. The only bummer about that is that at the end of the first act, Elphaba is flying above the seats we would have been in, and we didn't get to be there for that. But
yeah, it would have been cool to see exactly how straight up we would have been looking, because it looked like they were like right above it.
Yeah.
And we, you know, at intermission, we were able to go back down to the seats and watch the second act from those seats. And so we were asking our neighbors how it was, and they were all very effusive.
Yes. And actually, one of the neighbors had also missed the entrance, so had to sit in a different section in the back. And so we all were like right next to each other when we got there. But I will say the other thing I really enjoyed about that experience, the show is amazing, but this is the second time we've been to a musical here, and both times we've talked to our neighbors, like really easily. And I'm like, that does not happen at every show. I know that we have friends who go to shows at the Paramount in Seattle, and they have season tickets, the same seats. They've gotten to know their neighbors because they're at the same seats every single show all season long for years and years. But, you know, this is just a one-off, and our neighbors have been so friendly. And so I like that. Yeah. I think that's nice.
There was a fun little moment in the show where it's the wizard talking to Elphaba, and they threw in a Habibti.
Yeah, which is funny because
Elphaba Habibti. So it's kind of like Elphaba darling.
Yeah, and isn't it Habibi?
Well, it's different depending on gender.
Oh, yeah. I did not know that.
So, and I think it might be different in terms of gender or status on both sides, person saying it and the person receiving it. Don't quote me on this. Okay. I'm no expert on Arabic, but it was funny it was cool that they threw a little Arabic moment into the show.
And it was laughter.
It got the
laughter.
biggest laugh
Absolutely.
of the show.
Yeah. So anyway, this was a great show. This was also a London touring production, and it was fantastic. I was like, where are the programs? Because we didn't have a program last time either. And we like to read the bios of even the chorus members, because we like to see how many people were in The Good Wife or whatever. Like these are fun things to find out.
So this is a reference to when we went to London or to New York back in 2017
to see Hamilton.
And we ended up seeing 3 musicals while we were there.
Yeah.
And every single actor and actress had a guest starring appearance in The Good Wife.
or an
which,
extra
you know,
role
it's
or
a television
something.
show that has not been on air for 10 years now.
Right, at least. Yeah. Great show, though, if you want to go back and watch it.
I'm curious what The Good Wife of today is. What do you think the show is that every Broadway actress has had a little guest starring moment
It's not going to be a network show. It's because The Good Wife was a network show. It's going to be like a cable show, that we don't watch because we don't get HBO Max, things like that. I don't know. There's too many shows, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, maybe it could be something like, I'm trying to think of a show that ended recently that went on for several seasons. And I just can't think of it right now.
It's probably something like The Rookie.
The Rookie. I don't think The Rookie. Yeah, it could have been Castle at one point, but it's been too long. Bones. No, The Good Wife really captured how many, it could be something like a Netflix show.
Well, I think the one that
The
immediately
Diplomat
comes to mind is Law and Order.
Law and Order
isn't SVU still going?
SVU still going. Yeah, I could not watch that show. No. But I understand why it's still going, but I cannot put those ideas in my head.
But I feel like that might be the one that you would see in
Yeah.
all the programs out
Yeah.
there. So anyone who's been to Broadway recently, let us know if you
Yeah.
if you've got your old playbills.
Yeah.
If you'd like to collect those, go leaf through those a little bit and,
Yeah.
and see what television show
Yeah.
all the actors and actresses were in.
Oh, yeah. They do have programs we saw on our way out, but you have to buy them. And we were like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
And we're also going to future-proof future shows if we go to ones at Dubai Opera.
Yeah.
We will be going and having dinner.
Yeah. I mean,
and getting there early and not putting ourselves in any kind of stress about getting there on time. Because we made it for Greece, but we were super stressed.
Yeah. It was stressful.
Getting
Oh, yeah. Because
there.
we also had to pay for valet parking this time.
Yeah.
So parking, and that was maddening because parking is free.
Mm-hmm.
Parking is almost never free in Dubai, and it's free at the Opera House. So we were like, how are we paying for valet? We had to pay for it because we were running so late. We didn't have time to wait through the parking line. So anyway, good experience at the show. The getting there was very stressful. But yes, we'll start doing dinner. The only reason we didn't do that, honestly, is because we have a babysitter, and that would be tacking on 2 extra hours. And she already babysits for free, and I just feel so bad about it. So it's just a thing. But we will be doing that. There's only 2 musicals a year from what it seems. So if we find another thing. The other musicals, there's 2 a year in Dubai and 2 a year in Abu Dhabi. And I would have loved to go to Abu Dhabi. It's doing Mary Poppins. But honestly, it's 90 minutes away. And it just seems like a lot.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that right now. Okay, moving on to our...
This is our weekly segment, our Excellents and Boguses. of the week.
Okay.
So-
So,
Who's starting us off this week?
you are.
Okay, so what's my excellent for the week? Well, actually, no, I think you should start.
You
off
think
this
I
week.
should go?
I think yours should be the one that we start off with.
Okay. My excellent, despite the fact that we couldn't watch it, is that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and so I don't watch football, never have, American football, excuse me. But when the Seahawks are doing well, I usually am paying attention. Well, now we were not there this season and the games are not at the right times. You watched a little bit here and there, but it's just something we can't get here. So I was not paying attention, aside that I knew we were doing well. You can't not know that. But the lead up to the Super Bowl was so exciting. I'm very excited about the halftime show that after we're done recording, we will be watching, and the Green Day pre-show, and Brandi Carlile, who's one of my favorites, and she's a Seattle artist, did the America the Beautiful.
You are wearing a Brandi Carlile
I sure
t-shirt
am.
as we are sitting here.
I sure am. So anyway, this was exciting. I saw some video of people in the streets at the parade today. I remember the last time they won and how it felt to be in Seattle at that time. So I am cheering for the team, cheering for a female-owned team, cheering for all the people who were there to support the halftime show. I'm just cheering.
Yeah. We were not going to be getting up at 3:30 in the morning to watch, though.
No, and we couldn't have watched it here anyway. You would have had to go somewhere to do it. So then there were sports bars playing it here. Nope. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Work day. Okay. What's your excellent?
So my excellent is, so we went to the beach on Friday after school.
Yeah.
And we had a very northwest beach kind of day.
It was a blustery day.
So it was a normal, sunny, warm Friday morning.
All the way through midday.
And then we head out to the beach at like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there and then clouds start rolling in.
Yeah, we met some friends there. And when we got there, it was still really warm.
But and clouds came in and they kept coming in.
Yep.
And we ended up with a cloudy, breezy, sort of cool beach day. One where we all ended up putting our hoodies on.
Yeah.
In daylight.
Yeah.
A time when you would expect it to be, 80 degrees this time of year.
Yep.
We were having to add layers.
Yep.
There were, I don't know what they were doing. There were a bunch of people from adults on down to maybe 9-year-olds or something like that, who were like doing, I don't know if it was triathlon training or something like that, but they were running into the water and swimming. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys picked the wrong day to have this camp, because I bet you they are freezing out there in the water, and definitely freezing when they come out of the water, because it was a little chilly day, but it felt very much like a Pacific Northwest type of beach day.
Yeah, like an early summer beach day.
And that felt great. I mean, it was a little chilly, but I was pretty happy about that.
You were happier than I expected you to be about that. I was like, oh, you've really, you might be missing the Seattle weather. Not the winter, but the spring.
I think in particular because this week was the one where you started to feel it warming up again.
Feeling a little bit sad about that.
It was nice to have a moment that kind of put a pause on that, just for a moment.
Yeah, it's another reason I want to just go back to thinking about a cooler spring break. I'm like, Norway? How cheap is that? Really cold? Okay,
so that's my excellent. Let's move on to your bogus, which we had alluded to.
Yeah, so the reason we were so late to Wicked is that there was an unexpected and unsigned street closure. So, we were supposed to turn right at this. We're already downtown. We're already exited. We're what, 10 minutes?
This was like the last turn.
The last turn.
Because we would have had to do another U-turn, but we would have been on the street we needed to be on by getting up kind of this ramp and going to the right.
Yeah, and it was 10 minutes to the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we would have been 15 minutes ahead of the show starting.
Okay.
And there was a sudden street closure with no signs, no detour.
No police there or anything. There was just barriers.
Yeah. And so these lanes.
2 lanes having to, at last second, because you can't see it because it's a turn.
Yeah.
Moving over into the other 2 lanes. So that was very slow too.
Yeah. And Waze didn't pick up on it. So I talked about this in my stories a little bit. Anyway, that was frustrating. So we ended up in this long tunnel. And then it went from, we've got 10 minutes to get there. We are 10 minutes from the venue to, we're 25 minutes from the venue.
So you saw this thing on Instagram, this little video a few weeks back.
Yes.
Of somebody, doing a little humorous little reel about
we might have talked about
navigating here, the highways here in Dubai, where they missed their exit on the highway.
Yes.
And what was it? It was like recalculating time to destination 10 years.
Yeah.
This was that moment. It really was.
Oh man.
You could have gotten out and walked from where we were.
I would have been there on time.
And been just fine.
Yeah.
Instead it was 25 minutes just to get back from that point. But because you had to just wind around and around and around.
So you're going, okay, I spent how much money on these tickets? And let's see, will they give me a refund if it's not my fault? Probably not. Okay, so can we go out to dinner? What can we do? And we are so grateful they let us in.
Yeah.
But those are all the things going through your head. You're like, oh. Anyway, so future-proofing it for dinner in the future.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on to my bogus.
Yep.
And my bogus, we had talked a couple of weeks ago about getting on, my search for health insurance.
Yes.
And we ended up deciding to just have me go on to your health insurance.
Yes.
Without knowing that we weren't actually going to be able to get me and T onto your health insurance until April.
Yeah,
it is the early February now.
Yeah, so I tried to add it, and then the insurance, I don't know if it was HR at the headquarters of my school company or if it was insurance itself, but they said, nope, you have to do it. I didn't know there was a window. They might have said there was a window way back when I was hired. I don't know. There were 8 million new things. And as you know, I was scrambling like crazy for like 3 months with my job. So those things kind of went by the wayside. We got our IDs and then I just kind of like forgot the other stuff. So anyway, apparently there was some kind of window and they were like, well, why didn't she do this earlier? I don't know how to answer that question because I was overwhelmed by moving to a new country. But so thankfully our next window is the next insurance starts April 1st. So we'll have to sign up for that one.
Yeah.
So it's not too much longer, but sorry.
Yeah. Well, we'll be okay. I mean, it's been living without it here for months already.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Nobody's allowed to get in a car accident. So Dubai, be nice. So don't get near crazy drivers. Anyway, yeah, that was a bummer. And of course, you know, T had a little incident last week that gave him this scrape and it looked like he was getting infected. And I was like, no. But I think we've actually solved it. So it's okay.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the conclusion of this episode. Tune in next week when hopefully we will be telling about our experiences in Oman.
Yeah, we're going this weekend.
Provided we were able to get the car across the border.
Right. And hopefully also we have an actual spring break trip by then.
Yeah, we shall see about that.
We shall see. Wish us luck.
Anyway, remember to go check us out on Instagram, Nick Chelston Excellent Adventure. If you have any questions or things you want us to address, go ahead and reach us there. And as always, be excellent to each other.
Have a great week, everyone.